Mr. Celaschi, is that correct? Celaschi, sorry. Mr. Ron Celaschi is Vice President of Lending with the Clearview Federal Credit Union based in Moon Township, Pennsylvania. Clearview Federal Credit Union has 76,877 members and assets of $594 million. Clearview primarily serves the Pittsburgh metro area, though it also has branches in Philadelphia and Charlotte. Welcome. Look forward to hearing your testimony.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the opportunity to testify at today's hearing. As you mentioned, I am Ron Celaschi, Vice President of Lending at Clearview Federal Credit Union. Just a little background on the credit union. We initially served the employees of U.S. Airways and modified our charter back in 2004 to serve communities in a 10-county area surrounding Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so our charter is a little bit expanded. I do appreciate the opportunity to present our views on Interchange, what it means to small businesses, and also what it means to my credit union. To begin with, we are very concerned with the provisions of the recently enacted financial reform law, which relate to interchange fees. At many credit unions, it's true that interchange revenue covers the cost of providing debit card access to their members. However, for our credit union, that is simply not the case. Last year, our total expense for offering a debit card access or program to our members was $2.9 million. The offsetting debit-based interchange income was roughly $1 million, causing us a shortfall of $1.9 million on a valuable service. How's this possible when merchants have been telling Congress that interchange fees are unreasonable? Clearview Federal Credit Union has an aging membership, and it's true that older members tend to use their debit cards less frequently than the younger members that we serve. In a recent survey conducted by the Credit Union National Association, credit unions reported an average number of transactions per per card per member at 160 per year. At Clearview, that number is only 69. So even though our members use their debit cards with less frequency than members of other credit unions, we still incur the total cost of running and administering a program. We run our debit program at a loss because it provides a valuable service to our members. However, any reduction in interchange income that we receive will require us to impose fees on members to make up for that lost revenue, and that is a direct result of the recently enacted financial reform bill. The new debit interchange law includes an exemption or a carve-out for card issuers with less than $10 billion in assets, like our credit union. However, this exemption provides me with little comfort. And why? Quite simply, about 80% of debit volume is accounted for by a handful of large issuers. The scale of their transactions enables the operation of a global network with enough capacity so that small issuers like us can participate. It's hard to imagine a carve-out that would protect our credit union from the impact of new interchange regulation and the loss of revenue. We don't know precisely how the system will change and in what ways, but we do know this, that an artificial marketplace will be created. The ability of small issuers to compete in the face of merchant pressure will be significant. The ability of small issuers to attract and retain customers will change, and merchants will become even more bold in their efforts to steer and influence consumers regarding payment method. Another aspect of the new law addresses the routing and processing for card transactions. No exemption or carve-out currently exists for small financial institutions applying to the routing section of the law. In practice, this takes the routing decision away from the financial institution and places it in the hands of merchants. And the significance of that is the merchant's objective is to cut the cost to the bottom line, while the financial institution's objective is the security of the consumer's personal information and that transaction. With this new law, the merchant's objective clearly trumps the best interest of the consumer, in our opinion. That brings me to my second point. What will this interchange law mean to the small businesses in my community? As a credit union lending officer, I'm very familiar with the challenges facing small businesses today. The interchange expenses incurred by small businesses are relatively insignificant compared to expenses associated with healthcare costs, vendor and supplier expenses, franchise-related requirements or expenses, and certainly a difficult economy. In my experience within the credit union movement since 1991, I've yet to witness a business close based on elevated interchange expenses. But Will the new debit interchange structure benefit big box retailers? You bet it will. The Wall Street Journal recently reported the new debit interchange law will, on an annual basis, mean $250 million for Walmart. Someone needs to support this system, and if the buck is passed from the big box retailer to the consumer, Walmart wins big. And the same can't be said about the consumer and Main Street small business. And my final point, what actions can Congress take today that will truly help small businesses in our struggling economy? I think all of us come from different backgrounds, but we can agree upon the fact that there is a need to increase the amount of credit available to small businesses. There's legislation in place to increase the cap on credit union member business lending, and it has strong support in the House and Senate, and key administration support as well. Pending legislation would increase the credit union member business lending cap from 12.25% of total assets to 27.5%. If this language were enacted this year, credit unions could lend to small businesses an additional $10 billion and create 100,000 new jobs in the first year after enactment at no cost to taxpayers. While bank business lending has contracted in recent years, credit union business lending has expanded. Clearview Federal Credit Union is committed to helping the small business members in our community. In fact, our average business loan is approximately $70,000 and includes, among others, hair salons, landscaping companies, and several other sole proprietorships. It's my hope that Congress will act as soon as possible on this important issue. Mr. Chairman, I thank you very much for the opportunity to testify at today's hearing. Clearview Federal Credit Union is proud to serve the citizens and small businesses of Western Pennsylvania. And at this time, or after the other folks are finished, I'd be pleased to answer any questions. Thank you.